Martin, could you please introduce her?
Hi, yeah. This is Allie Field. She's a master's student in the GIST, GIS, Geosciences, Chemistry, and Geosciences department. And this is some research that she has done in support of our partnership with the Alabama Trails Foundation, where we're doing work and GIS work and collecting data on the Pinhoti Trail. And so I'll let her tell you all about it.
Hi everyone. So once again, my name is Allie Field, and I have been doing this research since, spring of 2022. It's a long time. And Alabama Trails Foundation, I'm very thankful that they allowed us to do the research and the work. So when I was doing the data collection in 2022, I had no idea of what I wanted to do. I was collecting data, but I love the trails. I love being on the trails. It's my passion, my love. But I found something very strange on March 22nd of 2022 of going up on Chakalaka. And I noticed that there was flooding, and it was really hard to get on the roads. And I was going hiking that day with my husband. We were going on the portion of the Pinhoti when this lady was carrying her dog, and she was claiming that the area that we were going to recollect data due to a data loss was flooded. So I know that a few days before that the area was dry, and when we went there, the area of flooding was up to waist high, and it was hard to get around. And I realized this could be a potential hazard for hikers, campers, outdoor enthusiasts. So I want to find a way of, besides the FEMA data, because FEMA data is only based on the majority of residential and historic flood data. And I want to find another way to find a system to basically make a map for campers or any outdoor enthusiasts or hikers or so to be safe and know that when going out, because flooding can happen anywhere. So I developed a hydrology flood index, which is based on several layers that I will mention in the data and methods section. So my study area, let's see if I can zoom in for y'all, is going to be the Pinhoti and the Chinnabee Silent Trail, but we're going to focus on two maps. First off is the Pinhoti, which you can see starts at Sylacauga in Alabama, ends up to the Cherokee portion, or Cherokee County portion to going into Georgia. Long trail. And the area of study is in the Talladega National Forest and Cheaha State Park, where I noticed the flooding. In the data method section, as I mentioned before, to make the hydrology index, I used the digital elevation model to create the slope layer and also to create the flow accumulation layer, which is used for the slope layer for the height, elevation to the low terrain. The flow accumulation layer, which is for rivers, creeks, and all that could be a potential area of flooding. The soil-based layer, since some soil layers can hold water retention more than others. And the National Land Cover Data Set, the NLCD. The National Land Cover Data Set is very important to me due to the fact that roads and certain soils, or roads, certain areas and all that could cause flooding and havoc. So, with those layers, I had to determine areas of importance such as soil and NLCD and flow accumulation are some of the most important factors to cause an area flooding. Slope can cause areas of water runoff. These areas were weighted and created what's called the Hydro Flood Index area. So in conclusion with this data, I noticed when collecting the data that areas of potential hydrology or flood hazards, there was erosion issues which could wear down the trail over time, down trees in the areas of flooding or hydrology issues, And also, there was research done to make sure of the areas that I was looking into from articles from other hikers and images taken as well. Areas that are both in the FEMA flood zone and also the hydrology flood index have potential severe flooding that could be a hazard to those that are camping or hiking, especially at night. And areas that are not in the FEMA flood zone, like such as the hydrology flood index, are known to also have a risk of flash flooding, and it may not be severe as the if they're in both layers. So the results section, you can see both trails. And the Chinnabee Silent Trail is a lot smaller than the Pinhoti, and I apologize about that. But you can see the data that was created, the hydrology flood index data, how it created the layer, and right over here is the water flow lines such as rivers, creeks, streams, and they were all onto one layer to compare. Here was the data of the campsites that was collected. That was had concern of campsites, especially at night. Campers camp out, and most of the campsites that I noticed was a trend of they camp by water embankments or streams, rivers. And the data that was collected was on the tremble right here. Here are some of the pictures of concerns. You see the erosion of water runoff and water onto the trail, which will erode the trail over time. Down trees by the stream river. And over here is the Chinnabee Silent Trail, where it flooded out in 2014, and it caused campsites to be closed for a certain amount of extended time. And it's also not the first time the area is flooded. Over here is the focus more on the Chinnabee Silent Trail, which you can see is a lot smaller than the Pinhoti Trail, but it's also in the Talladega National Forest and Cheaha State Park region. And over here, you can see the water runoff into the Cheaha Creek portion. And over here is campsites that could be a concern, all that, especially for future. And these campsites were made by people. They could be a concern for especially campers at night, especially flooding and all that. It's a higher risk at night. You're not aware of your surroundings. You're asleep. You're not paying attention to anything that's going on, and could cause flood to basically wash away your campsite and put you in a potential risk of hazard. Here's also some of the aftermath of what happened in 2014. You can see how it washed debris up onto the trail embankment, and also how that can create a hazard for outdoor enthusiasts and hikers and campers as well. And that is my poster presentation. Any questions?
Any questions for the speaker?
Hey.
Do you have plans moving forward to take this to anyone that might could be helpful to Alabama? I'm assuming the Alabama Trails group is going to use this in some shape, form, or fashion.
I do have plans. I want to get into the PhD program and get in touch with FEMA and maybe have some changes into areas of flooding. I did a presentation about that yesterday as well. More residential zones, because there was also concern with that. But onto here, I want to see a change in all that, and a little bit in the flood index and all that, especially for concerns areas for hikers on it, because they're not getting alerts. I mean, sometimes you're not getting a signal out on your phone, and you need to know, especially when flash flooding happens, you need to know areas of concerns to be watchful for.
Thank you.
Yeah, this will inform our partnership with the Alabama Trails Foundation.
Right.
So they're doing some work to figure out areas, some of the lakes and ponds have been sedimented in because of floods, and so they're doing some work to clear that out, and yeah, just letting people know about hazards. So
Just
information on.
Yeah, and then this will help us with them focus future research
Right.
that we'll do going forward, so.
Also too, the, trails, your, landscape's always changing, and that's something else to be knows out for too. And once something changes and all that, they could cause another area to look out for in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
This is random,
Sure.
cause I've never really been over that area, but where the areas are flooding, are there other caves and things around there that could contribute to some of the water? I cave, and so when caves flood and the water comes out during that time, I mean, it floods some trails and some areas that I go to on a regular basis. I didn't know if you guys have seen that or encountered that.
Well, something I noticed, my husband and I, we were noticing, we could hear rushing water underneath portion of the trail, but we didn't see where the water was coming out until at the bottom of the incision area. And I found out not that long ago, there was going to be a quarry built really close to the location, and it was a limestone quarry, and usually that would create caves and caverns.
The Alabama Cave Survey might be a good, group to look at for,
Would be.
they have really cool maps of all this, if you're involved in that.
I really need to look into that because limestone is easily carved out by water, and it changes over time. Any other questions?
Any other question?
Just a follow-up question. Are these your own photographs that you've taken from the sites at different times?
Okay, majority of them are, let's see, majority on the Pinhoti Trail are, except for this is the Chinnabee Silent Trail. And that area, or the Chinnabee Silent Trail images, these three and what you saw here, were taken by a guy named Mark Owen. And I saw his stuff when I was doing research on the Chinnabee Silent Trail, because I was told by my professor, Dr. Martin, that area has prone flooding, and I wanted to see if anyone had took pictures. And this guy took some excellent images, especially the aftermath. He went the next day after. And the ones that I did was exclusively on the Pinhoti Trail, and it took over thousands of data points.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if no more questions, then next time,